Hey, hi, welcome back to the tour of iconic Ann Arbor. We're going to take a look at the Kelsey Museum, or as it was originally known as Newberry Hall, which was built 1890-1891 over the course of that year. It's located at 432 South State Street. It's kind of right across from Angel Hall in that area and just down the street from the Michigan Union. It is one of my favorite buildings on campus. I find that I say that a lot, but this was such a unique building, gorgeous, gorgeous architecture. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. As I said, it was built in 1890 through 1891. It was initially the headquarters for the Student Christian Association. Newberry Hall was situated directly from South State Street, and at that time, University Hall. Funds for the construction of the building were collected from students, faculty, and Ann Arbor citizens, and from national canvassing coordinated by Albert Jennings. So it's truly a town and gown building. The Romanesque style building was designed by Spear and Rome of Detroit in the style of the Boston architect H.H. Richardson. If you travel to Boston and you walk the streets downtown, particularly in the older section, you will notice buildings like this, very distinctive, gorgeous buildings. The total cost for its construction and furnishing was $40,000. Again, keep in mind when this was built. Mrs. Helen Newberry donated $18,000 toward the effort and secured the naming of the building in honor of her husband. With the reorganizations of campus religious groups in the early 20th century, the building gradually proved less useful. At a meeting of the Regents in June 1921, the building was offered to the university for use as classrooms. Rental agreement was reached at the July Regents meeting that same year, and until 1928, Newberry Hall was used for classes in English, history, and philosophy. Isn't it perfect? This is where I would want to take my English history or my philosophy classes, in a building that looked like this. In 1928, the building was given over to the Department of Classical Studies for use as a museum. Again, perfect place for a museum. With the establishment of a Student Religious Association in 1937, the board of directors of the old Students Christian Association transferred the title to the property to the university. The building continued to function as a museum, although in 1953, when I was 5 years old, it was given status as an independent unit, and its name was changed to the Francis W. Kelsey Museum of Archaeology. After closure and extensive renovations, the building again opened to the public as a museum in the fall of 1994. You've probably walked by this building. It's hard to miss. Again, it's gorgeous. If you've not been in the museum, do so. If it's been a long time, like when you were a kid, go relive the experience of this wonderful building on campus. As mentioned, I asked for comments and memories when I posted these photos on the Ann Arbor Townie site, and I got, I think the total was close to 8,000 for all the different photos. And this one, comments such as the following. Growing up in Ann Arbor as kids, we called it the Mummy Museum, because that was my first experience, was going to find the mummy in the Kelsey Museum. Another one more lovely building on campus. I'm afraid I speak for a lot of people when I say that there are seemingly fewer and fewer of these lovely old buildings on campus. And somebody said, which we've all said, I always thought this was a real castle. Part of the series is also to show what was happening in the rest of the world. So in our little Brigadoon, we were building buildings such as Newberry Hall. What was happening in the rest of the world in 1890? Well, in 1890, Vincent van Gogh committed suicide in France. He was just 37 years old, and of course he had no idea that he would become Vincent van Gogh. I could go into more story on that, but not the time or place. Also, Agatha Christie, the great mystery novelist, detective novelist, was born at this time. Cy Young pitches his first professional game. As an old baseball player, Cy Young is very meaningful. In fact, every year in Major League Baseball, the best pitcher in the National League and the American League receives the Cy Young Award. Taking a look at our Western history, our Native American history, our indigenous people history, Sitting Bull, legendary Teton Lakota leader, died at the age of 59 in South Dakota. Again, I could go into a lot of information, but I encourage you to look deeply into the indigenous people and teach it to your children and your grandchildren. Also, in this year, the Eiffel Tower was completed. So that's our look at the Kelsey Museum, Newberry Hall. I hope you've enjoyed it. And again, please, if you haven't done it, give yourself a treat and go visit or revisit the Kelsey Museum. All right, thank you.